Hello, and welcome to Discovering True Health, your weekly deep dive into health and wellness. Thank you so much for joining us today. Before we get started with today's show, please hit that subscribe button. It helps us out a lot, and you'll stay up to date on all our upcoming shows. You can also check out additional information on our website, Instagram, and Facebook. All those links are below. Now, in life, no matter how well and carefully we may plan for the future, things can still fall apart and go wrong. The last 2 years, especially, have been difficult for many, including myself. Many have lost jobs, gotten ill, had major loss, and financial difficulties. So, today on Discovering True Health, we are going to learn fundamentals and key traits to get out of rock bottom experiences and elevate our lives, because when it comes to health and wellness, everything is intertwined. We'll also be learning techniques to shift our state of being and increase our energy level, how to cultivate more positive experiences in our lives through our focus, and some morning routine practices to start our days off with high energy and positivity. So, my guest today is Jeff Wickersham. He's a peak performance coach and founder of Morning Fire Coaching. Jeff is also a best-selling author of Rise, Fight, Love, Repeat, and he helps guide clients to intentionally step into the best versions of themselves and unlock the inner hero waiting to be unleashed. So, thank you so much, Jeff, for joining me today.
Oh, thanks for having me, Christy.
Now, I'd love to start with hearing more about your journey. What was the catalyst for you to write your book and become a peak performance coach? And what were some of the things you learned along the way about the health and wellness industry?
Great question. So my story really begins almost 8 years ago. I had that life event that ripped me, cut me to my core. Unfortunately, I lost my mom to breast cancer. So when you watch the woman that brought you into this world leave this world, literally take her last breath, all of a sudden that fragility of life smacks you right in the face, right? And
Yes.
deep pain, deep sorrow, a searing pain that just never faced or had to go through. And then it was a lot of discovery. Well, what do I truly want to do in life? Right. I knew based upon some last conversations I had with my late mother, right? Like life is just so precious. Every day is a gift. And how do we choose to use it? So I ended up leaving corporate America, opening up a gym on my own. I was always into fitness. My late mother was a school teacher, but also an aerobics teacher in the 80s and 90s. So went into fitness. And then what grew out of that was peak performance coaching, right? Because we don't have necessarily a shortage of gyms, but it's that battle that we all face, that 6 inches in between our ears.
Mm-hmm.
I was going through it. I saw it just over and over again of people that wanted to make change, but couldn't even get in the door. So that's what really led me into peak performance coaching. And then my book, when COVID hit, I had to shut down my gym, had to turn virtually. And that's actually when I wrote my book. I still kept getting up at 5 a.m., even though everybody started many people started sleeping in and not staying dedicated and disciplined to their habits. That's actually when I wrote my book, is right when COVID happened.
Wow. I love this full circle story, how you turn your pain into, figuring out how to heal yourself and then in turn help others. And I love that you also turned the COVID experience into something positive, which, your incredible book came out of. And you're so right. It's, we can go to the gym and work out, but, many that buy memberships don't end up attending for
Yeah.
very long. And it is that inner world that we really need to master in order to master everything else. And what were some key traits that you learned and had to develop in order to get out of your rock bottom experience and elevate your life?
Number one is bookending my days. And I know we're going to talk about morning routines a little bit, but we can't control many times what happens throughout our day, right? There's a lot of external, think about COVID, right? That's an external thing I couldn't control. I had to shut down my gym. But by controlling what I do at night, prepare for success in the morning, control what I first do when I wake up, I can control the bookends. And that gives you some semblance and control. Also in the morning, when you stack wins, it gives you energy, it gives you focus, it gives you momentum. So you're much more equipped to be able to take on what life throws at you, those curveballs, those hurdles you need to jump over, those doors you need to kick down. You're ready physically, mentally, spiritually, emotionally. So controlling those bookends was key. And then just the daily discipline of staying consistent, and consistency is so much more important than intensity. I love that line from
Mm.
Simon Sinek. And it is so true. I've meditated over 1,740 straight days, almost 5 years straight, 10 minutes every day. It's that consistency just day in and day out. And then is it terribly exciting every single day? No, but I want to stay consistent. I want to stay disciplined because that allows me to have that foundation to build from in any area of my life.
Absolutely. Yeah. And if you look at all the great minds in history, that's one thing, that's one quality and trait that they had, was that they would have a singular focus, a lot of the great scientific minds, they singularly focused on that one thing for 10, 20 years before they figure stuff out. So you're so right about the discipline and consistency. I'd love to talk more about the morning routine. So you've created a 4-step morning fire methodology. And you touched on the importance a bit of practicing a morning routine. How have you seen that a morning routine has improved your quality of life and your clients' quality of life?
Well, for me personally, it's that foundation, right? I'll go back to that again. I know exactly what I'm going to do in the morning. So you talk about hitting that COVID patch for 2 years, anxiety spiked, depression spiked, right? People were eating like junk. When you have that discipline, you know what you're going to do in the morning, all of a sudden your anxiety, your depression, it doesn't get a chance to take a hold of you, where so many times people are playing defense before they even get out of their bed, right? They're checking their phone, they're bringing negativity into their world. So that rise, fight, love, repeat, that mantra, I always like to say the rise is like a phoenix rising from the ashes. You're reborn each day. Imagine how powerful that is, to wake up and say, hey, today's a new day. I'm reborn. I'm going to create a masterpiece day. Fight. We need to bring that fight, that dog mentality into what we want in life. And so many people are walking zombies, or they're flatlined, right? They're okay with average and mediocre. You need to fight for what you want. Go after it. Bring some energy, some vigor to it. Love, love is so important, right? First, love yourself first.
Yes.
When you love yourself first and you take care of yourself first, that's why I love the morning routine. You do things for yourself, and then you can serve all those around you. You can love all those around you so much more powerfully.
The
And
cup
then,
overfloweth.
correct, right? Then the other piece is the repetition, right? That consistency. Just continue to repeat it. Now you can tweak and make adjustments. I have myself, but that's been foundationally just so critical to being stable and staying consistent. And then for my clients, it's amazing. It can happen in literally like a day or two. They start doing this routine and they're like, wait, that's it? And I'm like, yeah, it's not rocket science. Now you need to be consistent, because they're like, I feel great in the morning. I actually exercised a bit. I drank a glass of water. I gratitude journaled. I meditated. I did all these things. I was ready by the time my kids came down the steps. And then I got to show up as the best version of myself. So it's been amazing to watch the transition for me personally. And I'm a practitioner of what I preach. I always tell people, listen, I'm never going to recommend anything that I haven't tried out on myself. And that gives me some authenticity to speak from. But then watching the transformation in people to control those days, decrease their anxiety, get these wins, stack this momentum. It's just an amazing thing to watch.
Right. And I can feel your high energy coming through. You definitely practice what you preach. And what are some important morning routine practices? A couple of the top ones that we could all implement in our lives that are important.
So I love to give three, and these three can be done anywhere: on vacation, on a work trip. Drink a full glass of water when you wake up in the morning, right? The longest stretch of the day we go without water is when we're sleeping. So we're a little dehydrated. Have that glass of water ready for you. If you're at home or traveling, have it prepared, have it ready, prepare for success the night before. And I always take people through this scenario. Imagine if you're in your house, you go down and the glass of water isn't there, right? You didn't prepare the night before. You go into the cabinet, everything's dirty. Okay. That's the first opportunity for your mind to say, you know what, this is too difficult. Let's just take the easy way. Let's not do it. Let's add on to that. All right, the dishes are dirty. You go to grab the dishwasher. Okay, maybe your spouse didn't fully push in the dishwasher. They're still dirty. Here's a second opportunity for your mind to say, you know what, this is too difficult. So by preparing, and people say, you want me to get the glass of water ready? Yes, I don't want you to have to think in the morning. I just want you to stack wins, execute, get it done. So glass of water is number one. Number two is moving the body. Exercising a little bit doesn't have to be 150 burpees. It can be as easy as going for a minute walk outside. Just start to move the body. That starts that natural wake up process. And then number three is meditation. Now we all have this immediately when I say meditation, I'm sure most people picture this bald monk on the side of a mountain with his legs crossed, arms crossed, snow pounding down on his head. It can be as easy as taking 3 breaths in and out. Or you can leverage some technology, some apps. There's some great ones out there. I use Insight Timer as mine. One of the reasons why I love that app is I still do guided meditation. And you know what it does? It tracks how many consecutive days I meditate. So you start having that tracking piece all of a sudden. Accountability. You see the consistency. You're like, how long can I take this? Right. So water, exercise or movement, meditation. Those are the 3 things you can do anywhere.
Beautiful. And I love it. They're all simple and quick. Like you said, it doesn't have to be anything major. Just get the body moving, do some breaths, get your glass of water. And I love the preparation piece. That's definitely key. Now in your coaching, you work with your clients to intentionally step into the best versions of themselves and do more and achieve more. And I've listened to some of your work. I love how you talk about finding your inner hero. Such an incredible, powerful tool. I actually started implementing that myself. What are some of the fundamentals and skills we need to cultivate to achieve an extraordinary, successful life?
One is this equation that we've gotten completely backwards, right? And it goes from feelings to action to identity. And we were kind of taught this just growing up, right? Our parents, our teachers, our coaches said, how are you feeling? And when you said, oh, I just feel awful, many times they'd say, okay, don't do what you're supposed to do. So you didn't take action. And then your kind of identity erodes a little bit because you didn't follow through with what you've done. Well, that carries on to when we're adults, right? We feel not 110% when we wake up in the morning. So maybe we don't do the morning routine, even though we committed the night before, and then we feel bad about ourselves, right? It kind of spirals downward, our identity, where I love to flip that equation on its end, start with identity first, actions, and then feeling. So identity, let's say from an energy perspective, I define my identity personally as a world-class athlete every single morning. Now, do you think a Michael Phelps, a world-class athlete, even if they didn't feel it, would not get in the pool or exercise or workout? Absolutely not, right? So when I say I'm a world-class athlete and that's who I'm going to show up as in an identity perspective, I take action. I hit the gym. Guess what I feel after that? I feel fantastic. And instead of spiraling downward, I spiral up. So if you can define your identity, I love to define it from an energy, that's kind of fitness, work, how am I going to show up in my business, and then love, how am I going to show up as a husband and dad? Those are 3 powerful ways to say, okay, here's how I'm going to show up. I'm going to take action upon it. And then you end up feeling good, even if you're not 100% when you wake up in the morning. And newsflash, no one is. I have mornings where I don't want to get out of bed, but my identity is somebody that does that, is a world-class athlete, dad and husband of the year, CEO of $1 million company. That's who I'm going to show up as, and I'm going to take action upon that.
Right. Oh, I love that. And I've been a student of self-mastery for a long time. And it's all about you realize you are in control. Your emotional world is something you're in control of, and it's not your identity. So that's been ingrained with work I've done. And I love that. I love that flipping around and creating your identity and committing to that. And your feelings are just, you're going to feel stuff, like you said, no matter what. So yes, identify as a world-class athlete. Now, how does our thoughts and what we focus on affect our brain? Because I love how you kind of describe the physiology behind this. And what are some action steps we can take to utilize the incredible tool called our brain to work in our favor and attract more positive experience into our lives?
Yeah, I love that question. It's so critical. One, to have an awareness. So the average adult has 60,000 thoughts a day. 80 to 90% of those thoughts are negative, and 95% of those are repetitive. So let me say that again, because I'm sure you're shaking your head like, oh my gosh, are you serious? Yes. About 60,000 thoughts a day. 80 to 90% are negative and 95 are repetitive. It's crazy. So we've got this negative voice just constantly playing in our minds. We need to feed that positive dog, that positive wolf as much as possible. So one of the rules I have is when you wake up, no distractions. Don't check your phone, text messages, email, social media, news, anything that might be negative or perceived negative, because your mind's kind of, if we're having 80 to 90% of our thoughts are negative, it's wired on that negative kind of wavelength. So eliminating distractions right when you get up is so incredibly powerful. Then feeding that positivity, right? We live in the greatest time in the history of the world where we have supercomputers in our hands, but we're scrolling through Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, social media, rather than listening to a podcast like this one. Or I listen to YouTube videos all morning long when I'm working out, when I'm in the shower, when I'm cooking breakfast, and I'm feeding that positive dog because it has such an impact on your energy level, your physiology, and so forth. So those are two things. Number three is throughout your day, just move. And so many times we're sitting all day long. I love to coach my clients like, hey, set a timer, 20 minutes, get up, do 20 air squats. Yes. Set a timer again, 20 minutes, do 20 push-ups, and just move the body every so often. You will keep that energy level up for a good portion of the day. So those are three real world tactic strategies that you can use.
I love all those. We did a show called "Sitting is the New Smoking." So
there you go.
I've done a deep dive into the science and the research behind how sitting can be very detrimental. Are you actually standing while you're doing this show?
I am. So I got to
stand. Your energy is higher. Definitely makes a difference.
Yeah, I got a stand-up desk about a year and a half ago. I love it. I mean, it just allows you to be in this natural state of energy and well-being. You can move a little bit. And especially when we're speaking on a podcast or you talk about like having a phone conversation with somebody, there's a noticeable difference if you're sitting down versus standing up in your energy level. And it's pretty incredible.
Oh, absolutely. I noticed that I switched my routine too to standing up while if I'm writing a script, I'm starting to feel my brain sluggish. I'll go put my laptop up on the little elevation and stand up. And nice. I mean, the energy's back. So now our lives are full of distractions. Like you mentioned, we do have a choice on, these social media, all these apps that we have. What are some practices or tools to help us achieve that laser focus needed so we can accomplish more in our day?
My number one strategy is put your phone always on do not disturb. So I have it constantly on do not disturb. Sometimes it drives my wife nuts because I won't respond to a text message right away. But listen, when you have your phone on do not disturb, you can have a favorite list and you let those people in your life know that are on your favorite list, call me, because that'll call will still come through, even if you're on do not disturb. But when it's on do not disturb, you're not constantly pinged by somebody else's priorities, somebody else's wants and desires. And every time you get pinged, your focus, you're distracted. It goes away from what you're looking to accomplish. And then it takes sometimes 7, 8, 9, 10 minutes to get back to what you're doing. So I would highly recommend. My phone has been on do not disturb for years now. I'm not constantly inundated with pings, with notifications. If you can't put it on do not disturb, I'd eliminate notifications on all social media, on emails. You don't need to know when you get an email. That's not how we're wired to be constantly in this state of kind of fight or flight and constantly being pinged and on alert. That's a huge piece. And then the other piece is, hey, put the phone in a drawer for a half an hour and actually do some deep work. Now that's going to take you hitting the mindset gym, right? Like that's a mindset rep. We talked about the physical gym a little bit. We don't go to the mindset gym enough, but putting that phone in a drawer, being in your office, if you're working and saying, all right, this half an hour, I'm going to dedicate, you will get so much more done. Now you might be pulled initially, but as you go through those reps, you're going to get better and better at it. And it's actually pretty freeing when you do that. because so many times we're tethered to the phone. So that's a couple ways you can kind of leverage or get away from technology.
So important. And have you found that with when you started this practice of kind of putting the phone away, did you feel that pull right away? And then you found over time it just got easier and easier?
I did. I did. Same thing with no distractions in the morning, right? Like my meditation app is on my phone. Well, sometimes I'll see 25 messages, right? I see that green box and 25 there. It took practice to say, nope, I'm not even checking those until I get all my wins done, until I get my morning routine. And now over time, it's so much easier. I said, nope, I'm not doing it. So things are always hard when you start, right? They're always most difficult. They always take the most energy
Right.
when you start something, but when you're consistent, you do it over and over, it gets easier over time, and eventually it becomes autopilot.
Beautiful. I love that you said that because it's so important for those of us starting this process to realize, like, yeah, it's like working out. It's going to be hard in the beginning, but this will get easier and we will, something we can develop and grow. Um,
It, it is. And I would say when you're starting out, and I love to give this to people, make it so easy that it's laughable.
hmm,
Like don't put your phone over there for a half an hour. Set it for 1 minute. Just put it in there, go away, and work for a little bit and get that win. So many times we want to go so fast, so quick, but the key is to get wins and to feel good about yourself. So you do it
right.
again. Then tomorrow, do 2 minutes and start to build up incrementally rather than saying, all right, for half the day, I'm going to put it over there. It's just like somebody starting out exercising at the gym, New Year's, and they're going to work out 60 minutes every day for the entire year. And they haven't worked out in 15 years. It's just not going to happen. So make it so small, so easy to get it done that it's laughable, and then say, all right, yes, I did it. Tomorrow I'm going to add another minute. And then you can start to build that mindset muscle and build some progress.
Oh, I love that. I guess it's kind of in physiologically building new kind of connections and correlating in our brain that positivity, those positive hormones that we're getting when we feel like we had a win. So,
Yeah, so true. And that's why I tell people, like, celebrate it a little bit. So many times we're just going from win to win to win and we don't ever celebrate it. Like literally two fist pumps. Yes. Like, all right, I did it. It might feel silly, but you're at least wiring feeling good with what you just accomplished.
right. That's key. Now, in life, there's going to be challenges. We've both had challenges in our lives, and I'm sure everybody listening who's had some major ones recently, and many of us have lived through trauma or painful experiences. Can you speak on the pleasure pain principle and how pain can actually help motivate us and help us achieve more? It sounds like you've experienced that personally in your life.
Yeah, it definitely takes some time, right? I would say with my mom's passing, it wasn't overnight, right? I didn't
Yeah.
morph her pain, right? When the emotions are so raw, like a song or a smell, all of a sudden I'm just in tears, crying hysterically, right? And that still happens from time to time, but much more infrequently. But over time, you can morph that pain into power, is what I like to say. And I wear, if you're watching or just listening to this, I wear a pink wristband on my right arm. I have for the last 2 years. And the reason why I do that is her memory is right there. Not for me to go crawl in a corner,
Right.
but if I'm having a bad day, I can look down and say, okay, I got it, mom. Like let's go, pick yourself up. So we always think this is the end, like when we're in this just traumatic, painful period and we can't, see through the forest. But if you're listening to this, you've gotten through some pretty darn difficult times. So what can you take from it, right? How can you transform that pain? How can you wear a wristband on your arm that symbolizes, hey, I'm going to live today like it's my last. I'm going to be grateful for the gift that today is. So, it takes time, but over reps and getting that practice in, all of a sudden it can become so powerful. And really that's a driving force in my life now.
Beautiful. I love that. I love how you wear your wristband and keep that memory close and use that memory to, push yourself. Now, I love this part of your work, and I think it's so important. You work with your clients as well on shifting their states of being from low energy to high energy. And many of us struggle with this, even in the health that are on our health journeys. Like we're doing all the right eating and exercising, but a lot of us struggle with getting out of that low energy state. So can you share with us the importance of the power of our own natural innate energy, and what are some techniques we can use to help us shift our states of being if we're in our low energy state, so we can harness and utilize it to achieve our greatest success?
Yeah. One is just move, right? And I know we talked about this kind of recurring theme, but now you've heard it 2, 3 times. You
Right.
should take it in and say, okay, I need to move throughout my day. I need to set a timer. The other thing is we have so many abilities internally to create just this amazing life force, create all these chemicals. I mean, if you do the Superman or Wonder Woman pose where your hands are on your hips, chest is high, chin is up, you do that for 2 minutes. Your courage vitamin, testosterone increases 19%, cortisol goes down 23%. That's something you can do in 2 minutes to naturally feel more bold, more courageous. Like, just think about how powerful that is. And it's those little things that we can do that truly make the difference and set you up for success. I would also say, great one is positive self-talk. Become your biggest cheerleader. People, my sons laugh at me a lot because I said, I'll tell them I went for a run, and I think a couple of people think I'm crazy because I'm running and I'm tired, but I'm saying, let's go, Jeff. Like, you've got it, Jeff. Like, cheering yourself on. Become your biggest cheerleader. Why shouldn't you cheer yourself on? So many times it's the exact opposite.
Yes.
We say, why did you do that? We beat ourselves over the head with a hammer. We're the only species on the planet that continues to beat ourselves up for what we didn't do yesterday, a week, a month, 3 years ago. So become your biggest cheerleader. Cheer yourself on. You do that walking around, your physiology, your state will be immediately changed.
Beautiful. Yeah, I love this idea of power poses. I found those, I don't know, a couple years ago. I do them actually before my show. I do the
Nice.
power poses and do my prayers and everything I do before the show. But it definitely, yeah, it actually it changes your physiology, and it's pretty profound. So I love you mentioned that. Now, for those who want to learn more about your work, and your programs and classes, and find your book, how can we do so? And can you also share with us what types of programs you have and what you work on with your clients, and also any other great resources you have we could all check out?
Yeah, absolutely. So they can go out to www.thethe.morningfire.com. I've got a ton of free content out there. You can go to all major podcast platforms. I have a podcast, Your Hidden Edge podcast. You can go out to Amazon, grab my book, Rise, Fight, Love, Repeat, Ignite Your Morning Fire. That gives the blueprint that we touched on a little bit today, but that'll give you the entire thing to implement and take action on. From a coaching perspective, I love working one-on-one with clients. So I have a good amount of one-on-one clients where you're working with me on a daily basis to make sure that energy is up, your focus is up, you're in a state of gratitude, and you're intentionally stepping in to the best version of yourself, not only personally, but also professionally, because those two need to be connected. So I love doing that. Going to be running a family challenge. I do some group coaching for families, because one of the things I love to do is have mom, dad, son, daughter all bond together in this gift that is personal growth. And if we can give that to our children, imagine how amazing their lives will be. I've meditated with my two sons for the last 3 years. And I always tell them, they're 14 and 12. I'm like, you guys are going to have 30 years of meditation practice ahead of me. You're going to blow me away. So that's one of the things I love doing as well, is giving that gift, not only to parents and adults, but kids, right? These are things that, I don't know about you, Christy, I didn't have growing up, and I wish I did, because it would have been phenomenal. So if I can give that gift, if I can give that gift to my kids and other families, then that's a tremendous thing I love to do.
Oh, I love that idea of doing the families, because that just gets everybody on the same page and working as a team to really achieve their highest and best selves together.
Yes, you got it right there. So many times families, and in my gym experience, mom or dad would want to lose weight, but then everybody else wants to eat crappy. And it's just this pull. Imagine being this. And that's why it's the Unstoppable Family Challenge. Imagine being connected as a family. Everybody's on their toes. Everybody's exercising, eating right, setting their goals, chasing their dreams. That is incredibly, incredibly powerful.
Oh, brilliant. Yes, that is incredible because everybody will be supporting each other instead of, like you said, like one person's doing it and everybody else is kind of pulling them, trying to pull them back down.
Right.
And I will say what I love about your book is that you have action steps after each chapter, which I think from my experience as well, but also from a physiological experience, doing after you learn is so important. So it's almost like having somebody along with you. It's pretty incredible.
Yeah,
Uh,
we've got so much knowledge, but
yes.
so many times we're not taking action upon it. So the knowledge is really useless, right? And we need to execute, we need to take action. That is the difference, right? So anytime you learn something, you heard stuff on your amazing podcast today, take action upon it. Start to do it. Become a scientist, put on that white lab coat and get curious. And then all of a sudden, that focus, that energy, that momentum, it's going to go in that right direction.
Right. So I'm going to post links to all your everything you spoke about below, to your programs, your book, etc. Before you wrap it up today, do you have any final words to share for those who are not where they want to be in life, or maybe feel like they're stuck and looking to elevate their lives?
I'll give you an example, and it's an example from my life. I was my senior year of high school, male side. I was voted biggest complainer.
Wow.
So it is not where you start; it's where you finish. So you can change and make minor changes, small changes that will add up over time, and then you can become this powerful force. And I will also say, each and every day is a gift. You have a choice when you wake up what to do with that gift. And if more people start using that gift to the fullest, the world would be such a better place.
Oh, so inspiring. Thank you so much for joining me today and sharing your journey and what you've learned along the way and helping us all level up and create more success in our lives. And thank you also for the important work you're doing with your book and your courses as well to full circle help others improve the quality of their lives.
Thanks for having me.
Remember, knowledge is power. The more you understand about your body, the better you're able to stay healthy and prevent disease. And like Jeff said, don't forget to take action. And a reminder, I am not your doctor, so please don't take this as medical advice. If you have specific questions about your healthcare, feel free to reach out to your practitioner. And if you like this video, please like and share it with others. This information could really help someone you may know. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button below and the little bell to be sure you don't miss out on our future shows. And I will see you all next Wednesday on the next episode of Discovering True Health.